Welcome to the Hendo in the Fridge podcast.
Yeah, who's with you?
I'm Ryan Turner, and this is Malcolm McDonald of the Turner McDonald Group, the newest real estate brokerage in Hendersonville, North Carolina. And this is our friend
Brian Kutu over at Fairway Mortgage.
And we're just real good buddies, and we just want to bring value to the city of Hendersonville and surrounding areas, and would like to just feature things around in the area and talk to interesting people, interesting businesses.
Yeah,
Share some fun stories.
Yep. Like story of why are we in a fridge?
Well, Malcolm,
Why not? I mean,
you know the history better than us.
well, I mean, if you own a building that gets flooded and it just happens to have a fridge and you don't have a tenant anymore and it's a huge fridge. No, it's an old, I guess, cooler room, fridge room. So over 100 years old. So it's a cool location. It's solid. It's a good location for a podcast. It's separate from our office, so it's a completely different area. So we'll be completely isolated when we need to be. Plus, it'll be a fun hangout.
How thick is the brick in here?
Just around 3 feet thick.
Yep.
So it'll be a good fallout shelter. The apocalypse hits.
Three feet thick cinder block walls.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
not much sound comes in here.
No, that's a bonus except for what echoes in here.
Yeah. Well, we're working on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so pretty cool building that that Mac has here. What was it originally?
Oh, geez. Across the street is railroad tracks. Used to unload citrus here and flowers and distribute them. The front of the building is now it's enclosed, but it was just all loading dock. So it's cool. Cool building. Nice big space. Super old. 1916 originally. It's been through a couple floods now. Still standing.
So if you do want a fun place to work and you're a realtor, give one of us a call.
Honestly, super cool place to work.
Yeah, so speaking of work, so kind of want to talk a little bit about Turner McDonald and how all this came about, right? Like this building was what, a furniture and design store before?
Yeah. When Hurricane Helene hit, that's what it was. It was Harry Deaton Interiors. They're a great tenant. We had them for many years. And unfortunately, at the time of the hurricane, it just wasn't going to work out for them to wait for us to do the upfitting. They had offered to purchase the building, but at such a reduced cost that no matter what I did, I'd still make money. Even if I didn't open a brokerage, even if I just turned around and leased it out with all the mud in here. But yeah, no, the opportunity came up where being friends with Ryan, his investment background, we got to talking about what we could use the space for and how to build it out. Should I build it out like we did, which is insane build out, way more than I anticipated, or just turn it over the way it is and let someone else build it out how they want it? So I think we just started talking about that at the start, and then me being a real estate broker and him wanting to get into it, it just naturally formed that partnership.
Yeah, it was actually right after you cleaned it out. You said, "Can you come over here and give me some ideas of what this should be?"
Yeah.
And then,
well, that day you went to work too. You were in there grinding the floor. I was like,
of course.
I don't remember asking that, but that's super freaking cool.
Yeah, we had to get it cleaned out. You can't rent it if you don't clean it.
No,
Just
it's true.
happened to be not rented anymore. Yeah, so then it just kind of snowballed. We were just going to take over this little space right here, and then because it's about 1,000 square feet, the fridge, and then we decided that's not enough. So for some reason, we need 6,000 square feet.
Well, I mean, it would suck to have to go lease a space after I leased out the rest of my building.
Yeah,
It just we wouldn't make any money. So, I mean, ultimately, we were originally just talking about putting up a golf simulator in here.
Making this like a hangout, like a little
right.
Yeah.
man cave, which
it might be.
It might be. There may be some leather couches and chairs in here.
And it might be an upgrade. It might be upgraded one day.
Yeah.
To a golf simulator that we sit in front of and still do the podcast.
Yeah,
I
I
mean, we
think
could sit in the simulator if we get
That's
big
what I'm
enough.
saying.
Yeah,
Just be a bigger wall.
I think it's a
bigger
pretty
screen.
cool idea that you guys came up with, though. I mean, like, so Mac being a real estate broker, being on the sales side, also having a ton of property management experience, which we can get into.
Yeah.
And then Ryan, being a real estate investor for the last full-time 2 years at least.
Yeah, full time 3 years, and then I think I bought my first house when I was 17. So always been in it partially, and I don't know. Did better in real estate part time than I think I've ever did in working full time. So
Yeah.
moved up here and decided to do this full time. So, but yeah, the kind of reason why we wanted to do our own thing is so we can kind of add value different ways than other people. So, I think the best, for instance, is we're doing a townhouse for somebody that, it's been vacant for a couple of years. So we're doing the upgrades for them to maximize value on the sale when we sell it. It should be listed here in the next couple of weeks. And we'll, feature that on other stuff. But
Yeah. Well, not only that, but I think we both have a background in sales forever. Like,
yeah. That's the only thing I ever get hired for.
yeah, same. Sold golf clubs during the winter in Michigan, so I can sell anything.
Sell anything, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
I
like
mean-
before simulators too. Like,
I
I
know.
mean, dude, that's kind of crazy. Like, you just hit into
Hit into a net.
was there like old school like launch monitor or
No monitor, anything. People,
so,
but people
like,
still
foot,
come
like,
in
so
and
just
drop.
like foot spray? Like, how did you fit people to good clubs?
Honestly, in that place, it was mainly just buying off the rack. They just come in.
All right.
You'd
This
"How
feels
does-"
good.
Yeah, here, hold this 6-iron. See how this fits. Yeah, I mean, it was either that or I sold like the hard travel cases.
Oh yeah.
At that time,
Oh no.
uh-oh.
What is that?
Little break here. Hold on.
Pause.
Why or is this happening? What is going on?
It's coming from your phone.
Yeah. So
There. Oh,
no. Oh no!
wow. Did you reach the end of your recording ability?
No. All right, I'm gonna turn it off and we'll just stitch back in. All right, back after technical difficulties.
Yeah. So.
All right, so you were selling hard cases so
Oh,
that
yeah.
people would go
So-
on trips.
No, but it was even better than that. So at the time that I was doing this, the Detroit Red Wings, I was in Novi, Michigan selling golf clubs. The Detroit Red Wings were in the Stanley Cup Finals. And this little tiny guy comes in and he's like, I need a hard case. I'm like, all right, no big deal. Keep in mind, I'm from Florida originally. I know nothing about hockey. I know nothing about Detroit Red Wings.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah. And, well, not really. Hockey's pretty badass.
Okay.
I
mean,
but
it'd
I
be
spent-
badass to play. I agree with that.
I spent like 45 minutes talking to this guy about hard cases. I mean, obviously he was foreign. I get done and there's like a bunch of people standing around me. And I'm like, why are they standing there? Well, it ends up it was their goalie for the Red Wings, Dominic Hasek. I just spent 45 minutes selling him golf cases. So throughout the Stanley Cup, they'd put their equipment in them because they were cheaper to fly out. Apparently these guys paid for their own flights, something. And
Weird. Well, it was back in the day.
yeah, they were shipping the hockey sticks, the pads, everything in golf cases. And by the end of it, I had 5 or 6 Red Wings players. Never sold golf equipment to them except for hard cases. But I was like, I had the biggest sales that night.
Sales a sale.
Yeah,
Right.
But-
How many did you sell? Not one. It was probably more than one per.
I sold-
mean, you can't fit.
yeah. No,
they're
I
not
probably
that
sold
big.
like 50 of them.
To 5 players.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like a ton of it.
That's awesome.
1 leg pad, 1 case.
Right.
So sales background,
Oh, yeah.
real estate broker, property management, investment. Ryan, you have a background in insurance, right?
Yep. So, property broker, but in the insurance business. So all I did all day was look at construction of buildings anyway, so it kind of relates anyway. So it was a good experience, and we'll see if some sort of insurance thing comes out of it around here.
That'd be really cool to do the full circle in one spot.
We will.
I mean, obviously,
Just gotta get
clients
this
have
done
options.
first.
Yeah, no, but it's nice to have client options. I mean, there's, a lot of brokerages have in-house lending already. So,
Speaking of lending.
yeah.
Yeah, lending.
Oh, speaking of lending, first, before you talk about lending, we have to give you something.
Yeah.
Then you can talk about lending.
Oh, what do we got here? Oh, check that out. They're spending all their money on hats. So here, let me see one of your hats real quick. Upside down.
Look at that.
But we actually have a couple of them for you.
Yeah,
guys,
That's awesome. Thank you.
I
guys.
guess
You guys
send
walked
one to
us through.
Derek.
Yep. We spent a lot of time with you guys here recently, and we want to thank you for that. And that's part of that thank you is helping. We kind of got our brand off the ground at that moment, which was super helpful. Learned a lot about video. We were advised to spend very little, and we did not take that advice on our video equipment.
Yeah, whatever.
You guys are all in, right? Like,
Yeah.
You only want to do it once.
That's kind of my theory.
So,
It's
but
like-
yeah, no, we couldn't thank you guys enough. That was a lot of great advice.
That's awesome, man. Thanks so much. These are awesome. I'll rock this.
Well, you got to. You got your company name.
And they got me. Normally, the only color I wear is black, so I think they put some thought into that too.
Yeah,
right?
they didn't have a black hat. They had charcoal, and it's a weird looking hat. Doesn't fit right.
Yeah, we got some charcoal ones. But yeah. back
So
to-
one thing I think is really unique about us is all of us are from Florida or came here from Florida.
Yeah,
right.
True.
Yep.
So how'd you guys get here?
I got dragged up here to fix a property management nightmare. When I moved up here, my family owned just under 90 rental properties. They were all managed by one guy. He was not licensed. He was doing illegal activity. And it wasn't illegal in the sense that he just wasn't appropriate for it. And you don't necessarily have to, if you're family, you don't necessarily have to be licensed to manage families. So when I moved up here, we were just managing family property, and then I got licensed. But I spent about 8 months in court doing evictions and cleaning up. And it was a nightmare. Not only that, we increased rents by like 8 times. We were renting 3-bedroom, 1-bath houses in Forest City for about $400 a month.
Jeez.
And now we're
Somebody got a deal.
they got a deal for a long time, enough to build meth labs. So and that's where the other property manager failed.
How many meth labs have you cleaned out?
3, and there are some brilliant ones too. We'll get into that in other stories, but they're looking for quick money. They don't exactly think it through, but
I mean, it is actually incredible how many, because I talked to a lot of investors or people that own property they don't own. It's incredible how many people rent stuff on such cheaper than they can get.
oh yeah,
Because they've been renting it for
Out of convenience?
out of convenience, or it's just been 10 years that they have the same tenant, and it's like,
yeah,
what
we
do
have
they pay you?
we have a tenant.
$350.
She's,
Like,
yeah.
so you're not paying your taxes with the tenant? I mean, whatever, but
yeah.
it's like at least pay your taxes and insurance off of your tenants.
Yeah, I've got a tenant. She's been on the property since before we bought it. I think we've owned it around 20 years, and she's been on the neighborhood that we own for longer than that. And she handles any tenant complaints, any issues that pop up on the neighborhood, and rent collection. She collects all the rent. I mean, it's kind of nerve-wracking to have her sitting with a pile of cash every month, but she does a great job, and she only pays, I think, $500-600 a month, which is great.
But she earns.
She earns it,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, no, I mean,
You don't have to deal with all those people.
if I had reliable handymen down there that would charge reasonable rates, I'd just have her go direct contact with any issues to them. But it's been a struggle just to find that.
So how many properties do you guys own today?
We are at 28 units, so we sold a bunch. We sold a whole bunch, but we sold them probably cheaper than we should have because I wasn't involved in that part of it. there was a local broker here and then a broker down in Forest City that was helping my dad at the time of his purchase. And a lot of the ones that we flipped, we would turn over for ridiculous prices. I mean, in a market where it was a buyer's market, buyer's market, we were selling houses before they hit the market, whereas most people were on the market for a while. We were just way underpriced.
Just giving them away.
For the most part. I mean, we still made money, but it just wasn't enough.
Yeah. How'd you get up here?
Oh, I'm a North Carolina COVID person. So we started coming up here from Jupiter during COVID. My wife found Horseshoe Farms, and we just needed to get out of the heat and, our own house because there was nothing else to do. And we came up here 3 or 4 times just on vacation with my mom too. And fell in love with the area, fell in love with Horseshoe Farms. And we just, I think the 3rd time we bought property up here, and we were going to summer, come up here and hang out here in the summers. And that just kind of quickly snowballed into selling that property, buying a farm that my mother lives on now, and we just loved it up here and had to come up here full time. Just there was no question about it.
Yeah, I had a very similar story. Kind of leads me into
literally the same story.
Literally the same story. So
Right.
in 2020, we in 2019, my wife's pregnant with our first son, Schaefer, and we came up to Asheville for the baby moon.
Oh, cool.
Right.
I didn't even know if I knew that.
Just started visiting different areas and stuff. And we're like, man, we really got to buy a house up there. So the intention was to come up and buy a place that we used every once in a while and Airbnb it.
Right.
And then a week after we went under contract on that house, COVID hits. And then we don't get access to the house until May. And we're like, Florida's still shut down. We're like, let's go up to the mountains and
Right.
just
Yeah.
ordered a bunch of furniture, got what we could.
Yeah.
The first night we were in that house, we were using boxes as
We did
coffee tables.
We did the same thing when we got that farm. It was still during COVID, and we just went to the West Elm outlet and bought whatever they had to fill up the house.
Because remember, you couldn't get anything.
You couldn't even get furniture.
So then the summer came, and then we found ourselves here from May to November, and then the next year, 6 months. And we're, eventually we're we just love it here. And the mortgage business got so remote. I used to go to an office every day, wear a suit and tie, and then it turned into you're working behind your computer on your couch all day.
Yep.
And so we're like, you know what? We're going to make the move. We made the move. We've been here since January 2024, and we're happy we're here.
Yeah.
And I met Brian because I saw his wife at the pool one day.
This is a good one.
Yeah.
And I was saying hi to my kids. I was going down to South Carolina to do a look at a flip what I was doing. And I saw his wife, and I was like, gosh, she looks very familiar, but that person lives in Florida, so whatever. And I went along my day. And later that day, I got home, and my wife goes, hey, the girl at the pool with the other kids, she was from Fort Lauderdale. And I was like, oh. So her name's Georgia. How do you know her name? Well, believe it or not, I know her sister and some other friends. So I texted one of my best friends that Brian knows and said, hey, I just saw Georgia at the pool. And about 2 hours later, Brian texts me and goes, hey, do you want to play golf? I don't know anybody here. And that's where our friendship blossomed.
Yep.
That's where it blossomed.
Yeah, that's because of you guys coming up during COVID. With my wife's business is how I met both of you essentially, because I kind of met you both individually, but through people of her business. She was running that mom's fitness program, and Georgia was up here checking it out and hanging out, working out with the moms, and then ended up meeting you. I think you were looking at houses back then. We looked at a few and so on and so forth, stayed in touch. Once your wife mooned everyone at the Rhythm and Brews,
That's a good story.
It
Here,
was
we'll-
memorable.
Let's embarrass her.
No.
Not on the first one.
Yeah, we're now it's open. So we're at Rhythm and Brews, and she's got a backpack on, and her dress gets caught up behind her backpack, and for 15 minutes she's walking around downtown Hendersonville with her ass out.
I don't think it was that long because I was there and I saw it, and I just remember I had 2 beers and a glass of wine, like a plastic cup glass of wine, and I see it happen because it was in the parking lot. And I'm trying to go over there. I'm like, Georgia! Like yelling. And I got wine spilling down in front of me. And right when I get to her, she fixes. I'm like, your dress was pulled up. And she goes, yeah, I know. I'm like, cool. But, that's how you meet people. And you, like, retain friendships with funny stories, embarrassing moments. I mean, you always have that. So, yeah. But... that was Booty by Jen, by the way. That's what it was named.
Booty by Jen. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because she worked out. But, yeah, man.
So,
what was next on our list?
I kind of spelled out how TMG started, how we met, how we function with Fairway, which is Brian.
What we need to talk about is what this podcast is for.
Oh, what is it for?
I mean, I personally think it's for kind of showing off the community.
Yeah.
So we're looking for anybody interesting with funny stories or goofballs that live in the area or business owners.
Yeah.
Anybody that we can feature Western North Carolina.
Yeah, tell a story. Bring it in here. Show us your business. Let us support you. Right. And then grow together kind of thing.
Yeah, and the other side of it too, I think with all of us being in the real estate industry is talking through some of the real estate stuff. Like,
we'll definitely do that.
What's it look like to buy a house, sell a house, flip homes? I mean, you guys have tons of experience in investment. Talk about some of the fun, cool stuff that's available in the mortgage industry. I think we bring all that together. And
fun and mortgage.
Oh, come on.
I make mortgage fun. I mean,
just messing with you.
It's fun when you're organized, which is
definitely
which is
you. Brian
all day long.
Yeah,
it's like, hey, I got a house under contract for you. Cool. You get another email about 10 minutes later, clear to close. What? It's like
fastest man in the industry.
It works for mortgages, and your wife wouldn't appreciate it.
So yeah, I mean, the podcast is going to be really cool. We're going to bring on a bunch of different people, different industries, not all real estate related. I mean,
no, please no.
No,
we can't just only do real estate.
It doesn't have to be appropriate either.
No.
Talk about golf stories. Mac wants to talk about golf a lot.
Yeah.
These guys want to rag on my swing as much as possible.
Oh no! If we do that, we'll put both of our swings up so he can PowerPoint, and then we can point out he hasn't swung a golf club in a year. So what does it matter?
Yeah. Well, yeah, and then be like, "What happened to your belt? Something's covering it. You're so fat." It's like, I remember when I used to be able to see my hips in my golf swing on video.
Yeah, I'll have to record some swings next week.
That would be fun. But I think getting people on here too, like even from golf industry, we have some really neat people local that have some neat history and background with golf. I met a girl while my wife and I were out on a date night, and she was talking about golf, and she actually graduated from Rollins College, which is where I'm from, Winter Park, Florida. And it ended up that one of her roommates is one of my family's longtime friends, their daughter, which is kind of a crazy thing. Know that family really well, and they're in the golf industry, been in it for a long time, really well-known name. So, yeah, I think tying stories together and it's a small world overall. I mean,
especially here.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to bump into somebody here who knows somebody you know.
Right.
And, it's a neat thing, unless you're a business owner and you're trying to go out on a date night and you bump into 52 people that night and you're still working. Hey, but it is what it is.
For those that don't know Hendersonville, you can't walk down Main Street, without running into someone you don't know or that you know. Right. And having a conversation. It's like,
no, you're going to bump into someone. You have to go to Greenville.
And
And
even
then I'll bump into somebody I do
Probably.
business with.
Probably.
Asheville. I could go to Asheville and not see anybody I know.
Don't care who you are up there. They don't even know who they are.
No.
No, I think where are we at on this?
Well, it's probably pretty close to being what we needed to speak about today.
Yeah, I mean, we have a couple projects going on. We could talk about real quick
yeah, so
Oh, yeah. We could do that.
and talk about some mortgage stuff.
yeah, so what do you guys got going on right now? So you just launched the TMG Turner McDonald Group.
Yep.
Yep.
How's it going so far? I think that's really interesting. How fast you guys are like getting involved and getting some transactions going.
I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, being in the industry for 10 plus years as an agent, what we're accomplishing is something I wouldn't have thought would happen. The listings we're getting, the appointments we're getting, the people we're meeting are amazing. And, that's Ryan's background too. That helps a lot of that out.
Yeah. Lead gen is my thing. That's the only reason I agreed to this.
Yeah. It really is. I mean,
Yeah, so the two things that we got a couple going on. We just threw something, development land on the market yesterday. So almost a little bit over 13 acres in Flat Rock, zoned R1. So that's
what does R1 mean?
R1's 4 houses per acre. Most of it's already cleared, so that's huge. So my estimate is, at least you could at least put 40 houses on it and still have some green space. So that's a great opportunity for a developer. And then we also have a townhouse on Hendersonville Road that, because of my background as a flipper and Malcolm's too, is we're doing some stuff to modernize that townhouse before we put it on the market. So painting, we're fixing the trim on the stairs that was very weird and had carpet and very, how would you say it?
old school.
Yeah, old
Yeah.
school, but a very prominent area. It was very old school, so that's getting fixed currently as we speak. It should be hopefully done today. Then we'll paint it, put some carpet in it, and put it on the market, and basically force value for our client that he wouldn't have got if he just turned it on the market as it was beforehand. So.
Yeah.
I think one of the really cool things about it is that you guys have people really that are like in-house that can do that work.
Right.
Like I want to highlight that because, you'd have to get bids.
Right.
You'd have to, shop around as a homeowner. But you guys are like, nope, we can do it.
Right.
It's going to be cheaper for us to do it. It's going to be faster for us to do it. We handle everything in-house. And I think that's a very unique value proposition that you bring to this market.
Well, and in-house is kind of important because, as you know, with recommendations I've given you in the past for handymen, when you're not using them for your own stuff, when you can't really control or oversee the quality of the work, and all you're doing is throwing a recommendation out to a client, you're really putting your name on the line. And at this point, as much as me being that real estate broker for 10 plus years kind of thing, where you try to separate yourself a lot, in an area like Hendersonville or Western North Carolina, you really need to have control over most aspects of your real estate transaction. And that starts with, if something needs to be repaired, being able to be the throat to choke for your client, like, hey, this isn't right, and make it right. Whereas if you just recommend a handyman and they screw it up, there's really not much you can do. It is what it is, and then you just have to fix it, and your client hates you, and their porch is blue instead of brown, and all this other stuff. So.
Right. Well, and the other big thing I'd like to point out, it doesn't matter how nice or beautiful your house is or as bad as it could possibly be, and it's a shell, there's always going to be an issue at closing, before closing. So I think that's what we also bring to the table is we can kind of see those issues before they come up and fix them before it's a issue when it's time to close.
Yeah. And when you use them on your own home and your own properties and your own projects, it's you know the quality of work, you know their work mannerisms, you know how they function. their timeliness, all the things that you need to know when you do this job. And by having them in-house, that really is a bonus.
Yeah, ultimately with them being, for a lack of a better word, on your staff,
Yeah.
you have so much more control for your clients.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All day long. And, and that's going to be a part of the business that grows more. Hopefully we can bring in some contractors, and I think it'd be amazing to have the Turner McDonald Group or Turner McDonald Homes and build custom homes, partner with a local contractor. So if there's somebody listening that wants to go down that road, we're open to the idea in the future.
Right. And then we have one more that should be up here soon. That's maybe one of the coolest land deals we'll see, but that's coming soon. Not the coolest, but it'll be the coolest thing on the market.
But a great property.
If you're looking for a site.
Yeah.
Not too many places have incredible mountain views in fields to put your horses.
Yeah.
Or your farm. One or the other.
I mean,
I haven't seen anything like it.
no, there's nothing on right now. That's why it's so hard to comp things like that.
Right.
So.
Or anytime later. What about the mortgage industry, Brian?
Anything cool and unusual coming
Or
out?
just like what's going on?
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything cool or unusual. I mean, the market seems to be picking up a little bit. Obviously, the call volume's going up a little bit. You have mortgage applications are up, even though rates are fairly flat. Our market is going to be driven just across the entire country on whether or not and how soon interest rates tick down a little bit.
Right.
They say for every 0.5% that rates go down, 5 million more buyers are going to be qualified to be able to buy a home. So that kind of leads me to like, people think like now's not a good time to buy because rates are a little bit higher than they wish they would be. But the problem is if you wait for rates to come down,
prices go up too.
Prices go up. There's more competition. I mean, I remember, just 3 years ago, and people have short, memories of this, that every single property that was on the market had multiple offers.
Yeah.
And so it's going to happen again.
Yeah.
And that's why buying now is such a good idea, because you can always refinance later when rates go down, and you can avoid that competition. There's something called the cost of waiting, and that's what we're talking to a lot of people about. What's the cost of you waiting to buy a home? And it's substantial.
No, it's huge. I mean, to that point, I had a client a couple of years ago that was waiting to buy, the cost of waiting, and he was convinced that, I think at the time we were in the 4s. He goes, "Oh, they're going to go back down to the 2s. I know they are. I'm going to wait."
Dude, we'll never.
And
Do you ever think we'll get 2? We'll never get 2s again.
I mean, history tends to repeat itself. I would never
not.
say never.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, I started in the mortgage business in 2003, and rates were in the 4s, right?
Yeah.
The majority of my career, rates were below 5%.
Yeah.
So I do think that there's a place where that's become normal, where you see rates below 5%. So I think we'll get back there. I just don't know how much further down they'll go.
Well, I guess the 3% range, to me, when you get to the 3% range, the only unprecedented time that the people had the money and had 3% was during COVID. Because the time before that was the financial crisis. Nobody had any cash, so they had to lower it.
Yeah.
So the only time it's ever going to be, if you're holding your breath for the next 10 years, hoping you're going to see a 3%, the only reason you are is that the economy is absolutely awful.
Yeah.
So you can't have both.
So yeah, you may see 3%, but you have no job.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
I mean, I hate to laugh at that. I mean,
No,
because
no.
that's a likelihood, but still.
but it's the truth.
Right.
So if you go back, you look at a chart of recessions in our country.
Mm-hmm.
Every single time there's been a recession since the 60s, mortgage rates go down.
Right.
And the reason they do that is because the Fed needs to jumpstart the economy, and the best way to do it is to make money cheaper.
Right. Or
The
start a war.
Or start a war, yeah, sure. The only way to get people spending money is to make money cheaper, right? So if rates go down, there's something else going on that's causing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the reason it got so low during COVID is something called quantitative easing.
Oh yeah.
Quantitative easing is when the government fictitiously pumps money into the economy,
Right.
or fictitiously keeps rates lower than they should be.
Right. Yeah, and then you pay for it on the end. Everyone pays for it on the end. I mean, that's why rates jumped up so fast, so high, is you had to cover that cost. So,
Well, and here's another option. I mean, the last couple of houses I've sold on the market, I've offered buy downs.
yeah.
So when you go buy a house, tell them to give you a buy down. I mean, it's a
So how does that?
it's a temporary fix, but it can be a longer than temporary fix. It could be, I mean, Brian's better at this than I do, but
Right.
it could be a 3-year fix.
Well, I mean, it's not a stupid question, but here's a question for someone who might have thoughts about, writing an offer with a buy down. When you've got a buyer and you qualify them, are you qualifying them pre-buy down?
Yeah, so there's
Well, you
there-
can't-
You know what I mean?
there's a couple
Yeah,
different
because
types of
people
buy
are-
downs.
But no,
Right,
You
because-
can't do it on a buy down because it's going to end at some point.
Right, exactly. But that's what I mean. Like, what are the
maybe I
tolerances for that? But obviously he would have
He
the
knows.
answer.
Yeah, so there's a couple different types of buy downs. So a buy down that Ryan and Mac are talking about, you have an interest rate buy down. So you have a long-term buy down. We have a product called a lock and list where the seller can permanently buy the rate down for the 30 years. And we would qualify somebody off of that note rate because that's the 30-year fixed note rate or 15-year, 20-year, whatever term.
If you're
they're going
listening,
into.
this is only exclusive to the Turner McDonald Group for listings.
Or,
I'm not kidding. I'm kidding.
so
So
if it's a 30-year buy down, that's a big number on the buy down. Though.
well, you could buy. Let's say the seller wanted to buy someone's rate down 0.5%.
Right.
So 0.5% might cost 2.5 points of the sales price. So 2.5% of the sales price, right?
Yeah.
So, but it might be more affordable for the buyer to have the lower rate than buy the house for less.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a buyer and you're looking to buy a house for make an offer 2.5% less up front, that's not going to help you out in the long run. I mean, you're talking maybe a cup of coffee,
Yeah.
monthly.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it depends on the sales price. The
I mean,
The better way to do it right now is what you guys are
Yeah,
referring to
short
as a temporary buy down.
Right.
And so the way it works is, let's just use the term a 2-1 buy down, for example. Let's say the interest rate is 7%. Okay. So a 2-1 buy down means that in the first year, the rate's going to be 2% less. So you're actually going to be paying 5% rate versus 7%.
Right.
In year 2, it goes to 6%, which is 1% less than the note rate. And then after year 2, it goes back to the 7%, the 30-year fixed rate for the remainder of the loan. The reason this works is because rates could go down, right? And then you could refinance. Any of the money that the seller pays for that temporary buy down that isn't used up goes towards the buyer's principal reduction. So when they refinance,
I never thought about
it
that
pays
part,
for their
actually.
closing costs.
Yeah.
And then lastly, wages tend to go up. So maybe they can't afford a 7% payment today, but if their wages go up 3 to 5% per year, it makes it more affordable for that family because they're making more money in year 2.
Right.
So there's a lot of advantages to it. And the longer a house sits on the market, the more likely someone is to negotiate. So you need to use these tools and tactics in order to
Absolutely.
make it right for you to buy.
Yeah. And you can you can do it creatively. It doesn't have to be a 3-2-1. It could be a, I mean,
It could be a
I
1 year.
I would go, you figure out how much you really can afford, and you go, if it's a 1% change, go as far out as you can. So,
Yeah, you can always
3 or
refi.
4 year 1%.
Yeah,
Something like that. So then you're protected for longer than 2 years or 6, 1 year when your mortgage goes up again. I think we'll get some.
I just think there's a lot of
relief
fear in the
soon.
market. There's fear with the economy. There's fear
Well,
with jobs,
Right.
rightfully so. But at the end of the day, proof is in the charts. Those who own homes have more wealth.
Yeah.
As long as you're holding that property long enough, it makes sense to own a home versus rent.
True.
No, of course.
Although I want people to pay my mortgage, so renting's okay.
Right. Yeah. If you have to rent, you rent.
Yeah.
That's right. At the end of the day, can you afford your monthly payment? Can you afford how much it costs you out of pocket? If those two things make sense, it might make sense for you to buy. And that's when you need to have a conversation.
Cool.
Yeah. And dude, do I think every area is going to appreciate? No. Do I think Western North Carolina is going to the real estate market will lower from where it is now? No, it's not. I don't care what happens in the economy. Western North Carolina is going to grow from where it is right now. It's just going to.
Booming.
We got too much going on, too many people moving here, too many retirees with cash that, it would just be so difficult for the market to go down from here. And people moving from all across the country thinking this is very cheap, because it is. I mean, it's not a major metropolitan area, but if you start comparing it to New York or California or South Florida,
Where everyone's moving from.
Very cheap for nice luxury houses, or, even lower end stuff. You still get more for your buck than you do anywhere else.
True. Very true.
Just bring your job.
Yeah. Oh.
BYOJ.
On another note.
We will feature anybody that has more than 10 employees on the podcast.
And that is looking to hire. We need this.
Yeah, right? Oh, man. Dude, I would love to find any way to support manufacturing in Western North Carolina. That would be incredible.
Well, that's some big names.
Yeah, I know. There just needs to be more. I mean,
Pratt & Whitney, Borg Warner.
Yeah, there's huge.
I mean,
Eaton. What's the one that starts with an M? Meditor or
Meritor.
Meditor, yeah.
Matador.
Matador. That's part of like Cummings or something, right?
Yeah. At least that's what the sign says. I don't know.
Right, yeah. I don't
As far as I know on that one.
Another podcast will have it set up so I can actually Google stuff and we can
We'll
know
pull
the
up
answers to questions.
Yeah, we'll sit here and hammer away at a keyboard and what the hell does that mean?
Right.
So
the funniest one I drive by every day is starts with it's another one that starts with an M, and you Google it and they make wood clothes hangers. And it's a huge building.
it's one down the way. I don't know what they
Right.
make. Alchemet. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, just need more of that stuff.
I mean, when you look at the area and it went from being like DuPont to Philip Morris to Kodak to GE. I mean, GE is still here in the area, but like Kodak and Philip Morris, they're all but gone.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
This is a huge tobacco area. It was like, so if you, depending on the winery you go to, I forget which one it is here locally, but they have a whole history on the wall. And apparently this area was really known before Prohibition for growing wine grapes. Then Prohibition hit and they started growing tobacco. And then nobody smokes cigarettes anymore. So now we're back to growing wine. So it's like,
It's a problem with the tobacco.
this wine's got some nicotine in it.
Right.
But
hey,
there we go.
we would
New
be
invention.
more people would drink it.
Zen wine.
We don't need it more addictive.
Yeah, Zen wine.
Like that thing I sent you the other day with all the packs of Zin, and then the guy poured the vodka over top of it.
As like a filter.
No, it was a drink.
Instead of ice cubes.
Like
Zen cubes.
You get the flavor of the Zin with
It was
the
called
tobacco.
like a Zen fashion.
Oh, man.
Dude, I mean,
Why not?
if you get the mint and you put it in bourbon, I
a
mean,
mint
that's
julep?
basically a mint julep.
Zenhito.
Zenito.
San Hilo, it's rum.
Oh,
All right,
man.
I'm going to taste one. All right. Live on air. Zim Julep
Oh, God.
and Zin Mojito. Mojito?
Zenito. Zenuto. This is- yeah.
It's probably not bad.
It's probably not a good
Dude,
idea
how
either.
much? Yeah.
You're going to watch you turn blue on air. And
Throw up on
swallow it. You're better off just like,
Mac,
Oh.
you're doing it too.
I am bullshit. I am not. I'll do a lot of things, but not that.
All right, I want to
Zen.
find
Oof.
some videos of other people doing it first before I test
See
it.
how it goes.
Or not.
Maybe you
Just do
should.
it.
Maybe you should just go for it.
Okay.
We'll just have
I'll
you
do
set
it.
up.
I'll do it. I'll throw up. I won't throw up on air, but I'll throw up.
Well, so on that note, calling it a day now?
Yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah, we nailed it.
See ya.